Loops are an important part of Python. We're going to look into loops in a bit more detail. So what is a loop? Well, when you play a game, you start, you play, and then you end. And unless you never play it again, you'll restart. If there's levels, you start, you play, and you finish that level, and then you start another level, play, finish that level, and you keep repeating the same process just on a different level. So this is a type of loop. You start, play, go to the next level, and you repeat until it's finished. Tic-tac-toe, noughts and crosses. The idea of getting 3 in a row. This game is a draw. What happens? We start, we play, we finish, then we play the next game, and we repeat until we've finished playing. What's happening here? The player with the red circle, the red player, throws the dice. We've got a 1. Alright, they landed on a ladder, so they move up. Blue player throws the dice. Oh dear, it's a 3, it's a snake, they go down. So here we have 4 players, they throw the dice, they move up ladders, down snakes, and the game finishes when they reach the end where the star is on here, square 62. So after we started, each player throws the dice, they move to the next player, throw the dice, move next player. This repeats, this loops until the game is finished. So we often repeat things through a loop. What about in sport? Or athletics, we run around a track, we repeat this depending on distance. Motorsport, the car goes around the track, repeats this. Tennis, the same, we repeat through games. Golf, through rounds. Swimming, through laps. So golf is repeated over 4 rounds. Athletics, swimming, motorsport repeats over a certain amount of laps. So depending on how many laps that is, it can change. So that's why we put this capital N, meaning any number. In tennis, we repeat N points for N games, repeat for N sets. So there are types of loops. The first one we keep repeating until we've finished. The second one we repeat N times, an amount of times, a number of times. The first one is called a while loop. The second one is called a for loop. Let's have a look at the for loop and the while loop in code. The for loop. Here's an example you may have seen in the previous video. We have for loop, goes through 3 numbers and it prints a number, 2, then 4, then 6. So let's have a look at that in detail. We have print number, just a simple print statement. We have for loops, we use the for word. The space called the indentation to tell us the print statement is part of the for loop. N in 1, 2, 3, which is the variable going through each stage in a list. So that's called iteration. So that's the iteration of the loop. So N will equal 1, then 2, then 3 in this case. And finally, can you see the difference there? It's the colon. And don't forget the colon. So here's our for loop in full. Now let's look at the while loop. We've got a little bit more code here. Essentially we've got the print statement, we've got while rather than for, we've got the condition, the variable we set before, and the bottom line, which is very important, we've added 2 to the number each time that we loop round. And this is important because the while loop will continue forever unless you make sure that it comes out of that loop. So here the number equals 2, we're going to loop, then it's going to equal 4, it's going to loop, equals 6, and it's going to stop once the number's 8. It's not less than 7, so it's not going to print that. So let's look at this in detail. We have the print number the same. Instead of 4 we have while. We have the indentation the same. Now we have this condition, number less than 7. So very similar to the if statement, this is the condition. While this condition is true, carry on looping. If it's not true, we stop looping and doing the code underneath the while statement. That's the condition. And the colon again. Now remember the important part, we have to come out of the loop sometime. So here we add the number 2 to the number to make sure that it's going to break the condition. The condition is going to be false at some time. So the variable set at 2 is the finish of the code. So that's our code in full for the while loop. A preview of what's to come. Look at the numbers in the square brackets. That was a list. We'll explain lists in future videos. Also, there's something we haven't seen before. This we'll explain in the future, but we'll have a look at this as well. Instead of having to write out all the numbers, we can use the function range. So we'll look at functions and we'll look at range. Here the range goes from number 1 to 6, but it doesn't include 6. It goes 1, 2, 3, 4 and 5. So we'll explain range in future videos, but we just wanted to show it today so you can get used to it. Time for some practice. Write a loop that prints the letters in the word, example hello, and the output for that will be capital HELLO, hello. Write a loop that prints numbers 1 to 10. So as you can imagine, it prints 1 to 10. Write a loop that prints 1 to n. So this could be any number where the user enters n. So you're going to ask the user for a number, and then once they give you the number, you can print numbers from 1 to that number. So the example here, the user puts in number 5 and the output is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Write a loop that prints the cumulative sum. So that's the total sum of the numbers from 1 to 5. So it adds the numbers. So we have 1, then 1 plus 2, then 1 plus 2 plus 3, 1 plus 2 plus 3 plus 4, 1 plus 2 plus 3 plus 4 plus 5. So that's 1, 3, 6, 10, 15 to make the sum. Write a loop that prints numbers 10 to 1. So this goes down from 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Finally, a bit more advanced, write a loop that prints the sum and average of numbers entered by the user. So if the user entered numbers 2, -1, 8, 4 and 2, then the sum would be 15 and the average would be 3. Let's go through the answers. Write the loop that prints letters in a word. It's a simple for loop that we showed before. So we had the word and we had for letter in word, print letter. That's a simple for loop. Write a loop that prints numbers 1 to 10. Again, we did this before, for number in, and then we listed all the numbers, print number. If we wanted to use range, we could say for num in range, we're going to start at 1, we want to finish at 10, so in range we use the next number 11, so in range the second number we don't use, so it's range round brackets 1, 11, so that's range. In a while loop, we'll start the number as 1, we have while number is less than 11, print the number, don't forget we have to add 1 to the number to make it increase. So we iterate through the loop from 1 up to 10. Once it's 11, the condition is not true, we come out of the while loop. Write a loop that prints numbers 1 to n where the user enters n. So we have the input, enter a number code, change it to an integer. Did you remember that? So we start off with a number, and while this number is less than n, the number that the user puts in, plus 1, we print the number and then we add 1 to the number. I hope that makes sense. With range, we've got the same input, enter a number and convert into an int code, and then in the range we've got 1 to n plus 1. Remember, in the range we don't go up to the second number, so that will print 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 if the user entered 5. Write a loop that prints a cumulative sum, the total sum of numbers from 1 to 5, with the output 1, 3, 6, 10, 15 for example. So we have sum equals 0, we've got our numbers 1 to 5, and the sum is just going to be the sum plus the number in the loop, and we print it. In the for loop with range, we have range 1 to 6, the same code. In the while loop, we've got number less than 6, we add the number to sum, and don't forget to add 1 to the number to make sure we come out of the while loop. Write a loop that prints numbers 10 to 1. Well, a for loop we can just write the numbers backwards, 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and go through them. Now this is a quirk. In range we start at 10, we go down to 0, but we don't include it, and we can include a third number. This third number is called a step, so you could step -1, so the range goes in a step of 1 but goes down rather than up. So in a range we have start and end and step. So we haven't shown that in a video yet, but just to let you know that there are different ways to complete code, different solutions to problems that you can use. So that was just to show you how you might use range. In the while loop we have number is greater than 0, similar code except we reduce number, we subtract 1 from number rather than adding it, and we start at 10. So that's the while loop. Final question, write a loop that prints the sum and average of numbers entered by the user. So we've written the code to get a number from the user, we know how to add the numbers up. We did that before, so we're just going to add the average. So here's the whole code. There's quite a bit here, so we're going to break it up in two and then show you the whole code again. So let's look at the beginning. So we start off by saying finished equals 0, which means we can change that to get out of our loop, and we've got our sum and we've got our count. So while finished equals 0, meaning while we don't finish, we want to get a number from the user. Now we're using X to let the user come out the loop. The user is going to enter numbers, but at some point they're going to have to finish. So we've got to have a way of coming out of the loop. So here we make our variable finished equals 1, and then the while loop will finish. Now if the user's entering a number, not X, first of all we have to change it from a string to an integer. Then we're going to add it to find out the sum, and also we're going to add one to the count. Finally, we print the sum as our total, and the average is going to equal the sum divided by the count. Now because when we're calculating average, it's quite common that it's not going to be an integer, it's actually going to be a float. It's going to be some decimal place. So in this example we've made count a float. You can see it's 0.0, therefore our average will be a float. Even if it's an integer number, then it means there's not going to be an error. Finally, we're going to look at some terms. The loop is the code that you repeat through. We have a for loop, which loops a certain amount of times. A while loop loops until the condition is false, so it loops while a condition is true. Going through the loop is called iterate. And a range is a range of numbers that begins with the first number and stops before the second number. So from 1 to 11 would go through numbers 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Hope you enjoyed that video. Thank you for watching, and if you haven't already, please subscribe and click the like button. Thank you, and see you for the next video. Bye for now.